tortured, leaving. I don't know if we can clickbait you into anything like this, but we're going to have fun because that's what we need right now is some fun. Okay, yeah, I know fun must be always. That's in Vegas. What? Get the point. Let's just have some fun. And it's Summer Shark Bites on Teal Town, USA. It is July 21st, 2024. We're sweating off natural air at her place, whatever. But it's Summer Shark Bites on Teal Town, USA. So we have some fun over the summertime. If you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow hockey fans all over the world and in Sharks territory on the YouTube page or the app. And of course, follow us on all the social media. Find everything at tealtownusa.com. And if you want to support the pod, Venmo at tealtownusa.com. And with that, I say hello to
this is
to just
my
head and neck. Practically.
Yeah. Well, I have to go like this. Oh, there it is. There it is. I got it. I just have to like squeeze my elbow into my chair.
Anyways, is going to be great.
Tiger, I expect the memes are just coming right now.
All right.
To be fair, I'd rather have this than the plain green screen. Because the plain green screen is so bright. So apologies if you have flashing lights bother you. Actually, I'm going to turn this off now. But
don't
those
worry.
Who got the memes, there you go.
But don't worry if you have see-through. Oh well, never mind. If you had X-ray vision, there you go. Well, anyways, all right. It's Puckguy. It's Jules. It's good to see you, Jules. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm living my best life. How are you?
I am doing all right. I've recovered from a headache. I recovered from a celebration of life for my girlfriend's stepbrother. So rest in peace, Eric. We love you, bud. But it's time to have some fun. And considering, let me get that out of the way because we will turn into QVC maybe a little bit later. But
I'm gonna try not to derail the show today.
She says that now. But wait, there'll be times where she will want to. Ramon Garcia also shout out AJ. I got the package with the shirt and the scrimmage towel. We appreciate that. We'll make sure that AJ lets you know that as well. I know he shipped out a boatload of stuff the other day, so that'll be fun. So. So we got a little bit to talk about. I know you wanted to do.
I just want to make Kings fans mad.
You want to make Kings fans mad, which I get. But we're going to talk about team fans being shorted or tortured.
That's Toronto. Keep going.
Will you stop spoiling everything? We want people to keep tuning in. Oh my God.
It's okay. Stay tuned for my preview.
Yes.
The Pacific Division.
Way too early Pacific Division preview from Jules. We'll talk about resigning, a farewell, potential farewell, which apparently if you don't read everything, you don't get all the info and freak out. We'll talk about swimming in the socials, and Jules gets to do something she said she wanted to do.
What?
On this YouTube channel a little bit later on. We're going to leave you with a tease.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Exactly. You don't. I know you're looking at the rundown right now. Do not spoil it.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Thank you.
All right. Keep going.
All right. So let's start things off with practically the real only Sharks news that went on this week. Brandon Coe resigns.
Didn't that happen last episode?
No, it didn't. Okay. We've been on way too much.
We have. We've both been on like 18 shows in a row.
But hey, that's fine. Fun must be always, right? Elite Eklund 72, Hockey Talk in late July, impossible. You're right. It is impossible.
Yeah, no, we're really scraping the barrel. Stay tuned for next week, whatever chaotic idea we have.
And that's all you, because I'll be coming back from Vegas again. So,
but we'll get to that. I can't promise a show is happening.
Oh, Jules goes solo. What?
Absolutely,
you won't believe the results. So Brandon
low viewership.
Shut up. Stop. Brandon Coe. Is this kind of a show me deal? I mean,
I don't know. Brandon Coe is Brandon Coe. He's going to be like the third line right winger for the CUDA. Let's see if he can actually. I'm not a fan of Brandon Coe. I think I've made that pretty clear. But
I can tell.
apparently the organization is, and I don't blame them. He's 6'4". You know, the minute he starts learning that he's 6'4", he's fine. But he's got to get to that point, and I don't see it. And they already have their Brandon Coe replacement, which is Quentin Musty, just better, like a lot better.
Better with
better
than size and well, not necessarily size, but skill and scoring and.
Or like Igor Chernyshov, like those two kind of, I don't know, replace Coe a bit for like what we thought Coe would be for the Sharks. So yeah.
So were you surprised by this pickup or no?
Well, I did. Yeah, I mean, I did not think they would qualify him.
Yeah.
I thought he was a Calgary Flame.
And also, no, go right ahead, Ian.
To be fair, I forgot to let Ian know, and that was definitely my job. So sorry, Ian, I love you. Yeah, but
the more the merrier.
The more the merrier. And you know, I'm sure we'll get to the oceans at some point here soon. For those who are here for the ocean talk.
Yeah, and Ramon mentioned. Oh, and okay, all right.
I'm so sorry for today's podcast. It is. Anyways, keep going, Puckguy.
Thank you. Ramon Garcia, what I want to know is where is Sharks legend Kevin Labanc going to sign?
New York Islanders, calling it now. One of the New York teams, either my guess is either the Islanders or the Rangers.
Gotcha.
Like for a cheap deal. Look, it's Mr. Snake. Hi, Mr.
There's
Snake.
No snakes today. Hi.
No snakes. Ian Reed has joined us. Good, sir. How are you?
I have no snake stories today.
Well, that's it, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Sorry, my wife sent me.
We were, as you were jumping in, we were talking about Brandon Coe re-signing. Kind of a show me deal.
Yeah, look, I look, Brandon Coe, interesting guy, right? Because he's a weird one because I don't think like there's other players that the Barracuda had that are more Mike Greer guys than Brandon Coe is. Brandon Coe's big, which is definitely a Mike Greer thing that he likes a lot, but he's not that physical. Like, to steal from Kevin Lacey, because I think he's described him perfectly. Sorry, he's a 6'4" perimeter player, which I think is something that surprises me. I think he does have some upside I think he does still have some upside for the Barracuda. As far as NHL upside, though, I don't know what's there for him. But guys like Brandon Coe are still important to keep around, right? Like I know some people like, oh, they should have just traded him for a draft pick and started over, but you still need guys like on the Barracuda that can play minutes. And I think he's a guy who can play minutes. He does have fits of where he just goes off for 2 weeks. And then you don't see him again for a month, but he has like opportunities where he does kind of go off. So I feel like it's a good guy to keep around on the Barracuda. I don't know what the NHL upside is for him at this point, but
I personally don't see the NHL upside, especially with guys like Cardwell and like Wench, which is the guy they just drafted, like Carson, that dude. Like
Carson
Wench. I don't see him making it to the NHL, but like if that's your third line right winger on the CUDA, I'm not complaining. You know,
and he can play up and down the lineup on the CUDA, right?
Like he can play up and down. Like it's a good guy to have. I was just kind of shocked because again, there are more Greer guys on the CUDA that like I would have anticipated. You know what I mean?
Than not.
Like and he just doesn't fit. Like he's big and all, but Greer's looking for guys who are, and he's skilled, but I think Greer's looking for more guys physical, and
and if
he doesn't know how to use that yet.
Right. And if they can teach him how to use his body, then I think you could probably change my mind on him a little bit. And again, like he goes, there are times where he absolutely goes off. I think he's a good versatile player for the Barracuda. I don't hate the signing. It's a year. It's a 2-way contract. It's, you know what I mean? It's a 2-way contract. So it's not like having him on the Barracuda is hurting the salary cap in any way, shape, or form.
Is it a 2-year deal? That was a 1-year.
A 1-year deal. I meant 2-way.
I was like, wait, did I? Oh, sorry. My bad. I misunderstood.
So yeah, I think it's fine. It's another, it's a deal where I think he has to show something on the Barracuda for the Sharks to keep him around, at least on an NHL contract. I think he's a guy who could continue to get AHL deals. But eventually he's going to go somewhere else. Ramon Garcia, I know you guys were answering this as I came on. Where's Kevin Labanc going to sign? Kevin Labanc's an interesting guy because I think he's a guy who obviously, I think there's a little buyer beware here. I think, he's a guy who ended up in the doghouse of 3 coaches. It wasn't like, oh, this coach is like 3 coaches, 3 trips to the doghouse. But I think that he's not going to get anything close to what he was signed for on his last deal. But I feel like if you're a team if you're a cash-strapped team that is looking for a guy who might be able to come in and give you some offensive upside on your third line, I'm looking at you, Tampa Bay, or you know what I mean?
Toronto,
Tampa Bay or Toronto. It's gonna be one of those things where he's gonna be a cheap deal for a guy on a contending team who can play in the bottom 6, or I think he's a guy who is going to have to go to it's going to be one extreme to the other, right? It's going to be a team like the Sharks who has nothing but cap space, who thinks that maybe they can make him a reclamation project, and if they can fix him, they can either move him at the deadline or whatever,
right?
Or it's going to be a contender that's looking for a guy on a 9-5 deal,
which would make a lot of sense for Labanc to get that prove it deal, kind of like Noah Gregor last year for the Leafs.
Yep.
So it's interesting how you mentioned Toronto there. So
I'm just because again, it's going to be a strap cap team, that's a cash strap team that's going to be looking for the ways to maximize those dollars. And if you think you can fix them, I think Kevin Labanc would be an intriguing option.
I don't know. Yeah,
but
to me, he just screams Islander.
Yeah, I mean the Islanders are a team that are cash strapped for no reason. So
they're cash strapped for no reason, avoiding a rebuild. I don't know. Kind of screams Islanders, and Lou loves to just wait until announce his signings until September, or at training camp, we just see who's on the roster with them. But I don't know. I feel like New York screams his name.
Yeah, I mean it's a good shout for sure. Those are my scenarios for Kevin Labanc, or he goes overseas, or he doesn't get anything. But I feel like Kevin Labanc is one of those guys who's going to get signed. I'm not surprised he hasn't been signed already. He's a guy who's going to get signed in
PTO.
September. Yeah.
Yep. Also, apparently there's rumors Barbie is headed to KHL. So we'll see what the future is with him.
Yeah. With nobody picking him up or even mentioning him.
He's another guy, right? I think he's another guy who's a guy you can bring in on a 9-5 if you're looking for punch. But I feel like for a guy like that, he's not going to want to stick around until September waiting for something to happen, especially because I believe the KHL season starts
very
earlier than the NHL. So I think he's a guy who's going to have to make a decision, right? Does he want to get a training camp in the KHL, or does he want to wait around and maybe get signed to a one-way 9-5 or a 2-way 9-5, whatever, $800,000, $900,000 deal, and then maybe catch on in the NHL, but maybe end up in the AHL. For a guy like that, especially if you're already from Russia, I think the KHL's probably looking pretty damn good. But if you're a Kevin Labanc, English-speaking white kid from New York, you're probably going to wait it out.
Evgeny Kuznetsov terminated his contract and
right
playing the KHL, so
and that's the big thing there, isn't it? That they got to get going. I'm trying to pull up the KHL schedule because I want to say they start in August, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe they do. They had a game today where they had an NHL versus KHL All-Star game with guys that are in the NHL. I guess Panarin did some silly stuff. I don't know. The KHL is completely foreign to me, but sometimes I see cool shit on Twitter.
Yeah. Week 1, September 3rd is when the season begins. It actually seems a little late for them. But yeah, they want to get moving. They want to move everything around and everything. Patrick, thank you very much. Good, sir. Good to see you in the chat.
So a month before the NHL. I mean, it makes sense.
You want to get everything ready to go. So
especially if you're you don't want to be a guy who's, a guy like Barabanov, obviously he is Russian, so like he doesn't like. I believe they have in the KHL, and if I'm wrong in the chat, let me know. But I'm pretty sure they have like an import guy limit. So like a guy like Kevin Labanc obviously would have to count towards that import guy limit, whereas a guy like Barabanov, he's Russian, he can go to whatever team he wants. There's no correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure the KHL team does have a limit on how many import guys can play. Although maybe it's been widened because of sanctions and geopolitics and a whole bunch of other shit we don't want to talk about.
Right. On that note, we move on.
All right.
Saying leaving, and this is part one of it. So we'll credit Max Miller from the Hockey News on this one, as he was the first to come out with it for Bret Hedican leaving the Sharks broadcast booth. Of course, Bret has ties since he is married to Christy Yamaguchi. They live out here. Pretty much came onto the broadcast like right after his career, being in the studio with either Scott Reese or more so Brody Brazil, and then he jumped over onto the color analyst side. So practically about 15 seasons that Hetty was here, but he is taking off. I know we've. Let me say this nicely here, because I've known Bret for a little bit, but I also know what people have thought about him on this podcast. Wish him all the best. I don't think he's done though, but
I don't think so.
Maybe he.
I mean, I know
Brian Hayward. I don't know. In Anaheim,
I know he had a few like takes this year that kind of pissed off some Sharks fans. I know he's had takes in the past that has pissed off some Sharks fans, but wishing him the best, and I'm curious to see if there's a replacement in the wings here. What's the plan?
Well, it's got to be Drew, right?
Well, yeah. Because last year they switched off, so it was for the color commentary. So it was either Drew or Hetty with Ruzi or Randy. My God, what's his name? Randy. Yeah. So I'm curious if there's another color commentator, or like Ruzi's flying solo this year. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think like Bret Hedican's a guy who I think I'm kind of indifferent to Bret Hedican. I think that he's a guy who I don't know Bret Hedican, right? I just know I know he's had issues with people from our group that were kind of silly a little bit. Which makes me wonder if this is if he wasn't happy splitting time with Drew this year and wants to do more full-time stuff, which I think is fine, right? I don't begrudge him of that. I think that we've been kind of spoiled in San Jose. We had Drew Amenda. I really like Jamie Baker. So when I look at the guys who have done color consistently for any period of time here, I'd probably rank him third, and that's not a slight against him. I like Drew Amenda, obviously, and I like Jamie Baker. I thought Jamie Baker was also really good at it too. I think Bret Hedican, I don't think he's bad at his job though. I think if he wants to work somewhere,
he will find a job.
He will find a job, right? I feel like he's a guy that another market would probably be lucky to have, or if he goes national, right? Because I think that he's stepped in and done national games there. Obviously people like him, so I just wonder if it's an issue where it's he looks at the situation in San Jose, and again, I don't know anything. I don't want anyone to go writing, oh well, Ian from Teal Town said this and this, and that's I don't know anything. This is
Ian's
just
the new insider. Ian's the new Elliot Friedman. There you go. You heard
it there you go. So I want to make clear that this is speculation. This is allegedly. Don't sue me. Whatever. I just wonder if it's a guy who, does get tapped to do national games and has been spoken very highly in broadcaster circles, where if he has to suddenly share time with Drew, I just wonder if that was just a no-go for him. And that, and again, I don't know anything. Speculation, allegedly. Covering all our bases.
Ian's already getting sued by Arizona. We don't need him getting
sued
by
Bret Hedican. I don't need that. I don't need Bret Hedican to come sue me too, right?
No, but
I don't need any DMs. So I just wonder if it's a situation where maybe he chafed, maybe he was like, "Hey, I'm a rising star here. Why the hell am I sharing time with Drew?"
Yeah.
Or in the opportunity for Utah can be in there, or somebody's leaving,
Sure,
like
right?
Anaheim, or and he could be doing both,
Maybe,
like
and maybe he does. Yeah,
like Eddie does Seattle games and does also the TNT broadcast.
Yeah.
California Cruising. Hedican would
And
improve the ESPN broadcast, but
yeah. Like
No,
I
it'll be
think
interesting.
I agree with that. I think that having Bret Hedican on the ESPN broadcast would improve it significantly. Again, this isn't a knock against him. I just prefer Drew Remenda. If Drew Remenda is doing games with Randy full time again, that
I
would
like-
be
yeah.
ideal, right? Like
Right.
to me, I don't know. Everyone has different takes. Obviously, your opinion's yours. My opinion is that the Sharks broadcasts are best when it's Randy and Drew, and it should have never changed.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like Drew.
Yeah, there've always been guys who liked Hetty's comments, especially this year. I think he really got on the crew after some lackluster games. I think there was that awful 3-0 loss to Buffalo,
Where he went off on them.
when he went off on them.
Yeah.
And good on him for that. And then there were some people who were like, okay, he's stepping on toes, and and like Ricky's saying, some people were like, I haven't been a fan of Hetty's work,
And yeah,
I
that's
get
valid
that,
also.
but that's the thing. So all the best to Hetty. Wish him well, and he's going to be on somewhere.
He's gonna catch on somewhere, and he's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Again, like I don't have any ill will towards him. I just, again, if you're gonna give me Randy and Drew next year, that is the way it should be. And unfortunately, that's unfortunate for Bret Hedican, who again has ties to the area, obviously, and probably would like to stay local. But these things happen.
Did you get a DM?
If I do, I do. It's fine.
Jules, did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I know, and I know you're watching. Give me a moment.
You are gladly invited to join us. That was on me. I'm taking the blame for this one.
So just letting you know there you go. We'll let that go in there a little bit, but I know he has some things to say about it. And deal or no deal?
What the deal or no deal? Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, no kidding.
We will have we might have a special guest here in a few minutes, guys. Please hold.
Please hold. So while I get that going here, kind of pivot here really quick. Daily Face-Off put out the Tortured Fans department.
Okay.
Nice play on Taylor Swift here of the most tortured fan bases in the NHL.
Oh, Lordy.
Of course, they say 32 is Vegas because they haven't been tortured at all. Jules kind of spoiled it and said, Toronto number 1.
I didn't say directly they were number 1. I just said they've been tortured and they're not getting any better.
These are not new glasses. I don't think so. I mean, I have 2 glasses, so I sometimes wear my other ones, but I've had these for a while, so we'll see.
Yeah. It's looking good. Molasses, it's good to see you in here. Labanc to the Gunland Red Sharks. Okay.
Seems to wreck all the Sharks go.
But
ready to learn Chinese, buddy.
Daily Face-Off. Well, isn't that where all the former Sharks go now? Daily Face-Off ranked the Sharks 9th as the most tortured fan base. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Feels fair, right?
Yeah, I mean, no cup and then a painful last rebuild. Yep.
Yeah. I guess it seems fair because I think those teams, like there was a stretch where like the Sharks were like the pick, right? For a 5-year stretch. Everyone's like, like there was a pick where the Sharks were basically people's pick to win the cup, and not just our pick, like in the media, right? So they were definitely a favored team. But they just never got it done, unfortunately. They ran into a dynasty in the Chicago Blackhawks, a near dynasty in the LA Kings, and then when they finally punched their ticket, they got Sidney Crosby and Matt Murray on fucking crack. which is, which is the story for a lot of those things, right? Like Sharks finally break through to the conference finals as Chicago's on the come up. They get an Antiniemi on crack, who was absolutely insane that series, and that series only. If you go back and look, it was like he was amazing against the Sharks and kind of mediocre. I mean, that final between Chicago and Philadelphia was like whoever missed, whoever let in the least goals was going to win that game, because the goaltending was not the story in that. And remember, because that was the year we let Nabokov go, and everyone's like, oh no, we don't spend money on goaltending anymore. So we're like, see you in Russia, Nabby, because we're not paying you $7 million to stay, because everyone's like, no, we don't need to pay money for goalies. Jack Layton, that was the dead leader of the NDP. What the hell's his name? Michael Layton and Antiniemi like had a who could let in the least goals derby, and the least goals were lots.
You say that as we're just like totally baiting like Al to just jump on here all of a sudden. Now we're keep saying yummy.
Actually, there's I in my on my Twitter feed, and I think I put it in the Discord too, there was like a 2-part video series from Big Head Hockey, and they did like a nice trip down memory lane. So if you want to relive the pain of being a Sharks fan from day one to now,
oh god,
it was actually, but it was really well done. I thought it was a really well done series. If you want to check it out, either look for Big Head Hockey on YouTube or it's linked in my Twitter feed somewhere.
Gotcha.
I don't tweet that often, so it shouldn't be hard to find.
As we move along here, we'll get to the way too early Pacific Division preview Jules has been dying to do.
I think it's fun. I mean, we need content, so
we're in need of content. So Jules, let me ask you, why do you hate Kings fans?
Why? Oh wow.
No, I don't hate Kings fans. I'm just not a fan of what the Kings are doing. I think the Byfield extension is amazing, by the way.
That's going to age so well.
I don't. They're kind of mid. I'm sorry. I'll be the first one to say it. I don't know. It feels like they rushed their rebuild a bit. I don't know. That might just be me, but I think it's the Oilers' division to lose. Canucks signing Daniel Sprong for like 1 year, like less than $1 million is ridiculous. And then I have the Knights. I know we all want the Knights to be bad. They're not going to be bad. I'm a little higher on the Kraken than most people. I think they'll be better. I think Matty Beniers and Shane Wright are going to make them better. Matty Beniers being back to his like regular self. So I'm a little higher on the Kraken than I have the Kings already. I'm not a fan of Joel Edmondson. I don't really think they got better unless Brent Clark goes like turbo mode, and he absolutely can. The Ducks are the Ducks, the Flames are trash, and then the Sharks are the Sharks. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I think is going to happen. And everyone can tell me I'm wrong in the chat. I don't see Sharks leading the division, Emo Riot. Well, I'm last to start the Riot now because they're finishing last, bud.
Ian, not to put you on the spot, but what says you in this division? I mean, I think the top four is the top three definitely is correct. I don't know about the rest of the five.
On the spot here. So yeah, look I think I agree. I think the Oilers are the team to beat in the division now. I think that they've taken over from the Golden Knights in that regard. I mean, like I know they started brutally last year because they couldn't buy a save. So I think that'll be kind of interesting to watch because I don't think they've really changed their goaltending at all. And I know Stuart Skinner, like obviously had his moments in the Stanley Cup final, especially after, and in the later part of the Stanley Cup final. I don't know if like losing 2 games in the Stanley Cup final before your goalie gets good is a good long-term strategy.
No,
but as far as the regular season goes, I mean, I think that, the Oilers have all the tools to win the division, I think. Even if their goaltending's a little bit sus. I think Vancouver should be good still. That's a team that I think should be I think in the playoffs they lost Demko, and I think they did really well considering they lost Demko early. And so I'm hoping that Demko comes back, and I think he can be really good for them this year. Obviously, hoping his injury is going to be all sorted by the start of the season. But Vancouver, I mean, they've got all the tools, and I think you just got all those young guys with another year of experience behind their belt. So I think that's going to help them a lot. After the Oilers and the Canucks, it gets a little dicey for me. I do like the Kraken. The problem with the Golden Knights is the same thing as always, right? Is like, can they stay healthy? If the Golden Knights can stay healthy, and that's a big fucking if, they should be firmly in that 3 seed for the Pacific Division. If they don't stay healthy, then I think it's going to get a little dicey, because I think then you're getting into that wild card land where I still think the Central Division as a whole is better than the Pacific Division. And I think the Kraken will be nipping right at their heels. So yeah, the Golden Knights are hard, because I think if they're healthy, I think they'll be fine. But can Mark Stone play a full season? I don't think so. And they lost depth this offseason. They lost some really good depth pieces and good top end pieces on top of that, right? Like, I think Jonathan Marchessault, I know Jonathan Marchessault's older, but I don't know if I would have brought in Tomas Hertl to let Marchessault walk. And I don't know how much longer Marchessault can be. Marchessault age is definitely a factor here. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be tough, right? But you look at the pieces that are going to be needed for the Golden Knights to go good. You need Jack Eichel to play a full season. You need Mark Stone to play, mostly a full season. And I don't know if this could go really off the rails for them. I think they're a team that I think is either going to be comfortably in third, or injuries are going to be completely derail them, and they're not going to have the depth to make up for losing Mark Stone or Jack Eichel for any period of time. And then they're in trouble. So I think they're a team that, if healthy, I think they're in third, but things could go off the rails. And I could see them being a team that, like a couple of years ago, where, it was like, oh, we're going to be, we're going to, be in LTIR and that's going to be fine. And then they missed the playoffs. That's the season that it's going to be for Vegas this year. Either they're comfortably in the playoffs, or they miss because they milk, because they don't have the depth to make up for Mark Stone and Jack Eichel and Peter Angelo missing any significant time.
Yeah, I look at it and I look how Jules had it stacked. It's like Oilers, Canucks, Knight, Kraken, Kings, Ducks, Flames, Sharks. I mean, the Flames, is Dustin Wolfray to be the number one goaltender in Calgary, or is it going to be a tandem with Vladar? And
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't.
No, you're good. You're good. And the Ducks, I don't know what the Ducks are doing. Are they just taking it meticulously slow for the rebuild? They didn't do much in free agency. Gibson, I'm sure, there's a big old thing to move, but that's a big old contract for a goaltender to move. And I'm not sure if the Ducks want to retain on a goaltender they wouldn't mind having if they do turn things around. LA, between the Kings, Kraken, and Knights, it's those three that are in the mix that, in my mind, that can move things around in that spot. The Kings get hot, they're gonna sneak back into it or get the wild card. Kraken, the same thing. I think the Kraken should be a better team this year. And I know there's probably they're starting to spend money, maybe a little stupidly, to get Chandler Stevenson.
Yeah, I don't love that deal. I will say that. I don't love the Stevenson deal.
But the thing is that I know they need to make more of an impact in Seattle, because it's a matter of time before the NBA starts expanding, and Jules goes down. Okay.
I'm fixing it right now, y'all.
Yeah, but with the NBA probably on the verge of following the NHL's footsteps and expanding to Vegas and Seattle, very soon. You know the Kraken really need to make an impact there pretty soon before everybody gets onto the Sonics. So, and then for the Knights, and Jules is back. First she was invisible. Now she was
Yeah,
just
I went invisible there for a second.
But for the Knights, again, is the tandem Aiden Hill and Ilya Samsonov something terrifying, especially if Hill goes down with injury, which he has over the course of his career, unfortunately. He's a great goaltender when he's on his game. The problem is that
goalie. He's a good goalie behind a really good defense.
And he's got a Stanley Cup to shove to our 4th round pick that we traded for him.
Fucking Martin Jones could have won a fucking Stanley Cup behind that defense.
And the defense is still good, which tells me the Knights are still going to be good. Like their defense, like we can, again, if they, even if I don't think
they stay healthy,
that's the main thing. Like if they can stay healthy, I'd even say they could probably compete with the Oilers. But like, I'm sorry, the Pacific after like 2, like Vancouver and the Canucks it can go fucking anywhere. Like it can go like the Sharks. I could see them finishing as high as 6th in the division. The Flames, I could see finishing as high as like 5th in the division. Like it's a wide open division.
Yeah, and Vancouver looks really solid, and they might be really solid out of default. Let's be honest here. You know, they're a good team. I can't see anybody else taking them out of this at worst second. You know, and if Demko's healthy, that's fine. Seeloff's just re-signed for them. That looks like a solid
decent tandem.
Yeah, you know, Edmonton. I mean, Stuart Skinner backed him to a game 7 of a Stanley Cup final. You know, I think they'll roll with that.
After Ian and I hated on him.
Well, okay, but here's the thing with Stuart Skinner, right? Like, I think it was justified, right? He was asked.
It was absolutely justified.
He was to start every series. He wasn't good. Like the Oilers had to constantly dig out of holes that Stuart Skinner put them in. Like, it's not a recipe for success.
Martin Jones to the Oilers. You heard it here, folks. He will lead them to a Stanley Cup. How to make Sharks fans mad in 5 minutes.
To emphasize, I think Ramon was asking, what did you think of Pichelka's piece about having Martin Jones come back?
Oh, it's just funny.
It doesn't make any sense. I have, so in fairness, I have not read the article. So I don't know what Curtis's argument for signing Martin Jones is. To me, it doesn't make any sense. You have 2 NHL goalies already on the roster, and you have 3 goalies in the system at the AHL level. So if Martin Jones is on the team and both guys are healthy and he doesn't play him, like, so let's say everyone's healthy and you sign Martin Jones. Are you sending Martin Jones down to take starts away from Georgi Romanov and Magnus Krona? Because that's what you'd be doing.
I know Greer did mention he wanted a 3rd goalie.
I just don't understand why, right? Like, because then you're taking starts away from Georgi Romanov or Magnus Krona. Now, if someone goes down and Magnus Krona comes up, and then you have Gabriel Carrier and Georgi Romanov holding down the Barracuda, I don't hate that. Like, that should be fine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like if you're putting, like, you have a good setup in the AHL where that allows for Magnus Krona to come up if necessary. Magnus Krona is the guy that should be the highest on your depth chart as far as goalies go. He's the guy that should be getting the NHL looks. You're not, like, if this team was in a different situation, if this team is competitive and you're worried about goaltender injuries, then yeah, you sign Martin Jones because you want to be competitive. You want an NHL guy to come up and split time with either Vanacek or Blackwood should that be needed. But this team isn't going to be competitive. This team isn't playing for the playoffs. So why would you bring in another guy that's going to take starts from somebody in the AHL? Or if you don't want one of your AHL goalies come out and playing NHL minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really get the argument for the 3rd goalie, and I'll say that. But like, if I guess veteran to support the children, I don't fucking know. But yeah.
But Magnus Krona is what? How old's Magnus Krona now? Like, Magnus Krona is a guy who at this point, now I don't know if there's an NHL goalie in Magnus Krona, but he's the guy who should be at this point in his career. He should be the guy coming up and taking starts if someone goes down. I don't know why you would throw someone in his way.
Yeah, no,
they're sure. Still paying Martin. Might as well bring Martin Jones back. You're still paying him anyway. That's true.
They're still. Oh, Jesus.
Like it doesn't make sense to me, right?
Yeah, I don't get it, but if the Sharks do it, the Sharks do
But
it.
I didn't read Curtis's argument, so that's
neither did I, so I can't really comment on that.
That
I mean,
is
again, for the memes, it's funny. For logical, personal, purposeful reasons, it's probably not the funniest shit we could do, but we already brought back Barclay Goodrow. I don't think we need to recreate the whole Game 7 crew here, folks.
I don't know, man. It's just, to me, it doesn't make sense, but that's just on a surface level without reading the argument for it.
Yeah.
Maybe Curtis made a really compelling argument. I'll have to go read it later.
But Phipps making makes only sense if Vitek's injury is forecast to be problematic.
But then again, but we're not going to be are the Sharks a playoff team this year?
Yes, Ian. The Sharks are making the playoffs. You heard it here, folks.
You know what I mean? But that's my argument, right? Like if they're not going to be competitive, then what's the point?
I'm just saying, if things go perfectly, and let me emphasize perfectly, they could get into a wild card spot.
Absolutely not. You'd have to pass the Kings, which I don't know what the Kings are doing on their blue line, but I still think the Kings are a better team. You have to get past the Kraken. The Kraken are going to be a much better team than the Sharks. The Kings are going to be a much better team than the Sharks. They're going to be fighting for either the third spot or they're going to be fighting for a wild card spot. I'm curious to see if the Kings can do anything with Darcy Kemper to turn him around at this point. It's going to be a weird thing, but I mean, they traded a problem for a problem in goal. I don't know, man. I just think things would have to align so perfectly for the Sharks to even get a sniff of it. Cause I think that there's teams that are way better in front of them. Look at cause I didn't really talk about the bottom of the division. The Flames are in the worst possible spot they could be in. They're a team that needs to rebuild and won't accept it. They're the Sharks.
They also gave up their first round pick.
Right. Yeah.
So they're exactly the Sharks from 2020.
They're the Sharks from 2020. They're a team that is going the wrong way and they don't know it, or they know it and there's just, and they don't want to do it.
I mean, it feels like they're rebuilding, but they're not telling their fan. Yeah, basically
they're not. But they're not. You need.
I mean, they traded a lot of they traded Markstrom, they traded Toffoli, whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're starting, but I mean, I don't think that. I look at this team. Let me look at the Calgary.
That Huberdeau deal. Oof,
rough,
oof.
Right?
Oof.
There's still, but I feel I look at this forward group. I feel there's still obviously I think goaltending is going to be a question, right? You've got Dustin Wolf, Dan Vladar, and you got Devin Cooley.
So basically, a child and an kind of like a 1B backup goalie. All right,
so they're gonna so they're gonna be bad because I think in net I like Dustin Wolf, but Dustin Wolf has to take a step now. Right? He's been a very, very good goalie in the AHL. Now he needs to take that next step in the NHL. This defense is fine, I guess. But the forward group, there's still enough in this forward group that they're still going to be able to score some goals. I think this is a team that's in the worst possible spot because they're a team that needs to start needs to rebuild, but they're not in a position to rebuild because, as Jules says,
sign Sharangovich also to a 5-year deal or something like that.
Yes,
something crazy like that.
Yep, 5.75. So I mean, they're a team that's in not a great spot, but they're kind of in that they've traded their first round pick. They can't tear it down, but they need to start tearing it down, and they can't right now. It's going to take time. It's going to be like the Sharks were the Sharks in 2020 are a great parallel to where Calgary are right now because it took time to tear down, and the Kings are going to, or the Flames, sorry, are going to need time to tear this down. Or they can continue doubling down on what they have, which I sure as fuck wouldn't. But
I mean, like someone pointed out, they do have 5 firsts over the next 2 years, though. Yes, but the thing is, they don't have their own first this year.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a first round pick,
but I guarantee you that first is going to be higher than any ones they have because I'm pretty sure the ones they have are from Florida and Vegas. I know for sure they have in 2026. So yeah.
I mean, they could trade into the first round, but I think this team is going to be bad. This is
that pick. Montreal could be getting a top 5 pick, and we'll see. But yeah.
Yeah, so I think that the Flames are in a rough spot. The Ducks are a team that should be on the come up eventually. I like
I don't know
the Ducks have a lot of really
young
nice
talent.
things. I just think they held on to John Gibson too long. I think again, people like always talk about, oh, is this the year John Gibson gets traded? But I don't. If you've watched John Gibson play the last few years, he's not like there's very little. I can't imagine there being a lot of value left there for a guy making the kind of money that John Gibson makes, which is unfortunate because John Gibson at the height of his power was okay. So their pick is top 10 protected. So I mean, they could, if they're there. I think this is a team that's going to be not great. They're not good and they're not super bad either though. Like
they're just mid.
They're real. Yeah, they're mid as fuck. Yeah, and then the Ducks, like I said, so the Ducks. I think the Ducks and the Sharks can fight over who's going to finish last in the division again.
The Ducks, I feel like at some point have got to take a step forward here. Like at some point, I feel like the Ducks are going to come out and like surprise us, and all of a sudden be like 5th in the division.
But they're such a weird team because again, like it's like, what are they going to do with Trevor?
Isn't Vetrano's contract up? And Trevor Zegras has been on the trade block since John Gibson's been on the trade block.
Like, I don't know.
Like I don't. At some point, these teams, you've got to like come out of the rebuild here.
Yeah.
Is it though now? Zegras is still a restricted free agent after 25-26. At $5.75 million. Is it now at the point where it's them getting off the pot, or is it moving Zegras and potentially moving Gibson restarts everything again?
I don't think so because they have so many things. Like they have Mason McTavish, they have Leo Carlson. Like they've got pieces that can come in. I understand why you would want to trade Trevor Zegras if you're Pat Verbeek
because he doesn't fit.
I understand
style.
it,
yeah.
But I don't. I still think he's one of your best players, and I think he's your most marketable player. But I get why they would want to move on, and I think that they have their next goalie in Luke Dostal. Yeah, I think they have they have all the right things. It's just having it all kind of come together. And when it does, I think that the Ducks are going to be scary. I just think that they are. I just think their young pieces need to take steps that are just going to come with time. I think they're going to be a good team. But
and as much as I don't like the Beckett Seneca pick at 3rd, that dude's going to be really fucking good and scary. So they still have Seneca. They still have some other kids coming up here in the ranks. And like, I'm not the first person who said that. I think JD said this on Locked On, but the Sharks have to build to beat the Ducks because in the future, the Ducks are going to be the Sharks' biggest competition. Like, look at now, like the center depths with each team. The Sharks have Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith, Philip Beesta, David Enstrom. Look at what you're competing with the Ducks.
Yeah.
You have Leo Carlson, Mason McTavish, Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah.
Like you have to build to beat the Ducks. And yes, you then have other teams like Montreal, who's I think building a really good team, and Columbus and Chicago, what I mean? So,
yeah, it's like, so I look at the Ducks. I think that they are going to be a good team. They should be on the come up. They're just not going to be a good team this year.
But yeah, so they're going to be good. It's just going to take them some time. And they made some interesting draft choices in my opinion, but Stein Solberg is going to be a nightmare. So I'm not excited for that.
It'll be fun once things move along here. When the Oilers start falling down a little bit? Probably not.
When Leon Draisaitl comes to San Jose, the Oilers downfall will begin.
Exactly. And then we'll get Connor McDavid as an unrestricted free agent.
Oh my God, yeah, we'll pay Connor McDavid $1 million for like 13 years because somehow the CBA will change and we're allowed to do that.
Yes,
it'll be
exactly.
Great.
Yes,
it'll be fabulous.
# my contract sucks. So we're kind of jumping around here. I want to go back to this one as we talk about leaving of sorts. So a lot of people were, duped by looking at articles that kind of went off of what Shing had talked to Jonathan Becker about on.
Are the Sharks relocating?
Yeah, the Sharks are relocating.
They're leaving.
Like in the Shell franchise, where you could request it.
I swear. And I know Shane got a boatload of stuff here. off of it, and then you see like these little Instagram accounts that are like, oh, the Sharks could leave San Jose. The Sharks could leave San Jose, and of course everybody just falls for it. And AJ, I know you're watching, and good to see you here. But come on, gang, deep dive into it and read and listen to it, because while you're taking bits and pieces of it, it's like, come on, they're not going to leave San Jose. And at the worst case, they'll look around in San Jose, and if not, they'll look around the Bay Area. That's what Becker had said on with Sheng, and it gets taken so out of context, and it just gets like it's that game of telephone, and it just gets out of hand, and it's crazy, and it sucks. I mean, kudos to having getting Becker on and to explain that, because it is an interesting situation come next July, and that they're trying to figure things out for that. So
here's the thing, though, right? And I'm not even local, and I'm gonna fucking lay this out for you like a local would. I'm sure. Maybe I won't. But here's the thing. Here's what. So what do we know?
Okay.
What do we know? The Sharks have run SAP Center since it was built. Why would that fucking change now? Why? You know what I mean? Like, it's such a stupid talk. Like, obviously, it's going to be a negotiation, and we have to, like, obviously, like, the Sharks have to say their thing and the city has to say their things, but why? It's worked, right? Like, the Sharks have run this arena since its inception, and it's worked. They fill it with other events. Like, it's obviously, like, I'm sure the city, I'm sure it works out well for the city to have the Sharks run the arena. I don't know why they would change it now. Now, obviously, would the Sharks probably like to have things fixed in the arena or maybe altered? Yeah, of course they would. And I'm sure that'll, again, it's a negotiation. But, like, where are the Sharks going to go? I know people are like, oh, well, Utah just got out of Arizona, but, like, that Arizona was a fucking mess.
Right.
Like, the Arizona situation was an absolute disaster. Now, here's how the NHL
was
works.
late to paying the fucking hotel bills with Arizona. Like, it was so bad.
Right. Like here's how the NHL works, right? The NHL is structured in a way, and teams go to certain places for TV rights. The Bay Area is one of the largest. How big is, like?
I think we were at number 6 in TV.
Right. Okay. So,
number
like,
4 in radio.
So Gary Bettman is not going to allow the team to leave the 6th largest television market in the United States to go where?
Quebec City, of course.
Nowhere. They're not going to Quebec
Arizona.
City. They're not going to Arizona. Like,
Hasa's moving the team to Arizona. There you go.
No, but
I'm joking.
But
I'm joking.
Go ahead.
There's nowhere they're gonna move. Like, the Sharks are in no danger of relocating. Period. Because they're in a very good market. Yeah, okay. Obviously, attendance has been down. The team's not good. That's going to happen. This isn't a market where it's going to be expected that they need to fill the arena when they're good and fill the arena when they're bad. Right? Like, that's not the expectation for this market. The Sharks are fine. Yeah, okay, maybe Hosso's not making the money he would like to make, but, look they've got exciting prospects coming up now, and if this team can turn things around, people will come back to the arena. Will it go back to being the sellout days? I don't know, because the Bay Area is an expensive market to live in, and people have, like, obviously there's expenses, right, that people have to allow the Sharks to take a certain portion of. Are they going to get back up to the sellout days? We'll see. Again, it's, times are tough for people right now.
Right.
But they're not going anywhere because, again, it's an important television market. It's right. They just built TechCU. Like, where the fuck are they going to go?
Right. And
it's the dumbest talking point. The city, the Sharks, they're going to come to an agreement. And as fun as this will be for clickbait articles and clickbait podcasts, like, great. All those things can do it. We're not playing that game. The Sharks aren't going anywhere. It's fine.
No, and I know AJ's been in there. It's that, we've talked to Becker a number of times. The team pays for these renovations that they're doing.
Yep.
For off their own bill. It's not like going to the city and asking for millions of dollars of improvements like Ted Leonsis did in Washington. Oh, I'm going to go to Virginia and then get like a $500 million renovation. The team's been doing it on their own. So, I mean,
and they're not going to build a new arena. Like Paso Platner's not building a new arena out of his own dollar, and taxpayers are getting a little hip to the, like, taxpayers do not want to be on the hook for new facilities, especially when, I don't know. I mean, you guys are locals, so you tell me. I feel like SAP Center is fine. They don't need a new arena. I feel like we're not at that. Like, look at, if Madison Square Garden is still fucking standing, SAP Center is fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You look at all that, and unless it's like in absolute shambles, it's not going anywhere. And I know AJ has
Platter Pavilion.
Yes, Platter. But but the whole point is that they've said many times. AJ said it many times with Becker that the arena has good bones. It's they continue to improve it before they even consider building anything. So it remains to be seen. It's just that when this deal was signed about, I think it was about 10 years ago, correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, that they had it for a number of years, and then it would go to a year-by-year basis, and that doesn't necessarily, give the Sharks any leverage. And since the team has been in good hands, with San Jose, it's in good shape, and it's a good time to talk about it, especially with the amount of construction that's supposedly supposed to be happening. Or
with the whole BART thing and stuff like that. Yeah.
But beside the point, they're not going anywhere. Don't even bother.
Does SAP have earthquake damage that I'm unaware of?
No. I mean, there also hasn't been an earthquake that would affect SAP. So
no, there was.
There was. When was the last?
I remember there wasn't a playoff game. There was like an earthquake
against Colorado. They had like a 5.2 earthquake in like middle of the game. Was it 2002? Yeah, it's 2002. That they had an earthquake. There was nothing. I mean, that building when it opened was stated to have earthquake can stand within like at least an 8.1. So it's in good shape. And be honest, if they wanted to leave, they wouldn't be making.
I was gonna say, because like what Chris is saying, right? Like the last earthquake of any size was the one where the
1989,
where the freeway got compacted.
Yeah,
and
I feel like wasn't that 1989?
That's probably
1989. Yes.
Like
so I feel like that probably seeing what that earthquake did to that area probably would be something that they would have planned for when building SAP.
Big time.
And like, but in all seriousness, guys, the Sharks aren't going anywhere. Like, this is just clickbait. This is a little bit clickbait. So don't believe what you read sometimes. And the Sharks aren't going anywhere. Like that's the plain and simple truth. And
the problem is that we need a relocation. Like the worst part of the Coyotes finally going to Utah is now the Sharks really don't have a relocation candidate. So we have to make them up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There you go.
No, it's true though. Like
it's
now
true.
That the Coyotes are in Utah, I don't see a team where you're like, oh, well, that team's going to get relocated.
So San Jose is the new, like, they need to relocate or, whatever.
Yeah. So by all means, and you know what? We'll put that in the description in the this show at the end of it here, because it really is, everything is fine. And thank you, AJ, for putting that out there.
It's the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand it. I get it. It's summer. We gotta, relocation. Relocation candidates must be always, but the Sharks aren't it.
Yeah. All right.
Sharks aren't it.
Are we ready to have some fun? Can we have some fun after all that, especially after the week that we've all had? Why are you doing that? Are you
I'm scared. I'm scared. Also, just memeable. You can thank me later, Tiger.
Yeah. So, Tiger, you were late. You should have seen Jules earlier. That was hilarious.
Ian announces Houston Sharks coming in 2030.
Oh my God.
Ian Wooden Chell. He's requested relocations multiple times.
That's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to the socials. And, as we know, Joe Pavelski recently retired.
Oh,
Sad.
So we're gonna catch up with him. So
he's rejoining the
Lexi,
Sharks. Signed a one.
no, we're not doing clickbait crap. Lex in the city. Shot this
Joe Pavelski rejoins the San Jose Sharks
Oh
under
my
the
God,
under the only under the understanding that they moved to
relocate.
Houston. Yeah, they
There
have
you
to.
go.
No.
He signs because they said the only way I'm signing.
No.
The only way I am signing a
No.
deal in this team is if they move back
Jesus.
to Texas, because that's where my home is now. I sold my house and yeah, that's the headline.
Anyways,
Joe Pavelski
AJ's
joins San Jose
predicting
Sharks
what this is,
under
so.
the.
All right. Let's get to this before we get.
I gotta go drink. I'll be right back.
Go. All right. It's oh my God. All right, and well, this is one of Jules's dreams to do with summer content. So,
what?
Jules,
I never said
this is Teal Town Idol.
Uh-oh.
All right.
So I'm guessing Ian's singing, right? Because I'm not singing.
No. I'm gonna ask you. That was actually a really good rendition. So, and do you agree, or do you think it was all right?
It was fine.
Okay.
It was hockey players singing.
Right, and congratulations to the Bens, and hope you had a great time. My question to you is, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh God, Ian, go first. Go-to karaoke song.
No, Ian does not do. Ian,
no, come on,
not good.
It's probably a musical theater song, like any one of the musical theater songs. Actually, it's "You'll Be Back" from Hamilton, the one that the King George sings. Oh, we're just getting up close up of Puckguy's face right now.
That's weird. Oh. Okay, go on. Apparently, my mic hasn't been working, and I had it on the whole time.
Sounds fine to me. I don't know, but I'm done.
Anyways. But yeah, it's for any of the musical theater folks. It's Hamilton. Go to karaoke song. Happy birthday. But yeah, it's probably Hamilton. You'll Be Back. Yeah, go to karaoke. Yeah, AJ, I can picture you doing that.
Right.
Can picture it. Tune in next time when AJ sings Happy Birthday on live. I'm joking.
Gosh.
I'm just trying to bully people into singing live on air right now. So yeah.
No, we're not going to do that. That's far from what I was hoping we'd be doing.
What are we doing? I'm
asking.
confused.
I'm asking.
Oh, I just answered. You'll Be Back from Hamilton.
Okay. Which
you
makes
don't know
sense
that song. Yeah,
I don't know that, but that I get where that's coming from.
Ian, you don't do karaoke, do you?
I don't sing. No, no one wants to. Like,
no.
There is. there is. But if I was going to do it, like I remember, there's a video on YouTube where like a bunch of us when we were playing like Rock Band, like remember the old Rock Band game with all the plastic stuff, and I did belt out Sabotage by the Beastie Boys, and it was pretty epic. I don't know what
we need to find this video. So
I know I need to bug my buddy and just see if it like is something that he deleted or something, because I couldn't find it. But yeah, there is a video there somewhere of me drunkenly belting out Sabotage by the Beastie Boys, and it's one of the best comments to that video was, "This is Sabotage my love for music," and that should say it all.
Oh lordy.
But Chris is absolutely right, and thank you very much.
I did sing the American National Anthem on this very channel. That is a thing that happened.
So God.
So if you want to look up the After Dark from the 2016
because I am
5 against LA.
Yes, because I picked the LA Kings to beat the San Jose Sharks. And they're the one time they actually won that series. So yeah.
Right.
Oh, Lordy.
So just remember to thank Ian for pulling his Barry Melrose prediction of having the Sharks. Oh boy. Now okay, I guess we're adding multiple parts of our past into descriptions following the show with most of it on my bad mic, apparently, which is so great.
You do sound better now. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Jules, for letting me know. Jerry, thank you for your $2 super chat.
Yes,
I just joined and want to say hi and thanks. Appreciate it so much. Yep, there you go. So you can look at that right now on there.
If you ever wanted to
Stay
see
tuned
me-
for more loose bets that are going to be done throughout this year.
Oh,
So
man.
little preview.
That's what happens when I was so
So-
confident too that the Sharks are going to get smoked and they won in 5 games.
Oof, mud on.
Fuck it. Yeah.
But hey, you inspired them to go on a strong playoff run. So just saying. And
We
for me
didn't.
to
Yeah, soon they went to the cup final, right?
and for me to grow
Idiot.
like this luscious
Whoa.
AJ, you're spot on with that. Spot on. Ian's
I haven't
version's
heard
still-
Ian's, but it's a pretty low
Oh,
bar.
it's no.
I mean,
no,
that's a low bar.
I will guarantee you it is better than Ingris Andres's version. Absolutely.
It's a really low bar.
Come on.
I mean,
now.
I will take it, but that is a very low bar.
Yes. No. That brings back good times and memories for sure. For sure. Oh man. Okay. So with that, we will wrap things up. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again with apparently bad audio, you can check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, which, I probably reek your audio right now. So maybe we should both this. I don't know. Of course, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, we want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Of course, if you're watching on the replay, feel free to leave a comment down below on what you thought of tonight's content and let us know what you want us to cover during the summertime.
Please do, because otherwise you will be getting like Oceans talk. So I'm joking. but
Oceans.
Yes,
let us
we
know
will
what
have
you want.
Ocean's Power Rankings by Jules and
No.
The Atlantic's the best ocean. There's no sea snakes. I've already
wrong. So wrong. Mayor of Wrongville wrong. No.
sea snakes. No sea snakes.
No.
Well,
no
Ian's
snake.
just scared of snakes. We've been over this.
Sea snakes are super scary.
This
Oh
is
my
a
God.
clickbait episode. No one's saying. Yeah, no. Puckguy gets to hear me sing soon, but that's about it.
Yes. Can't wait for that. Jules is performing at Fiddler on the Roof. We won't tell
I
you
am.
where.
We won't, just for my safety, but
Yes.
So yeah, maybe if the Sharks make the playoffs, we'll see. No
now
guest
we're
either.
just going off the rails. Okay, Chris, AJ, I need you guys to get on here now. If we're gonna just go off the, don't look the time feeling.
I can't go off the
22
rails. I need
was
to go
saying
to
on the
sleep.
show. Yes. And Ian announced his new team, the Sea Snakes.
Coming to Houston, 2030, because Joe Pavelski wouldn't sign here unless the Sharks moved and became the Sea Snakes.
No, Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, the next time on Teal Town USA.
Oh boy. Well, hey, I'll be in Vegas next Sunday night. So,
Great. Lucky ducky.
Jules, AJ,
I have
Ian,
rehearsal.
by all means, you guys talk away. I'm sure you can make fun of me in some form or fashion.
No
I think
one's
that's-
making fun of you, Puckguy.
Yet.
Species versus Kraken.
Oh my God.
There are sea snakes in the Pacific Ocean, which makes it an automatic loser. I'm not taking questions.
So we need to get Ian some snakes and ship it up to him.
Ricky, I love it.
And in-depth investigate. Yeah, I don't know why GM. He also always trades up in the third round, which is really funny. So like the last 2 times in the third round, he's trade up once for Brandon and then once for Carson. So I don't know, man.
How many right wings could have as many as they can fit? They can just make them
Listen,
left-wingers, it's
but
fine.
they need as many right wingers as humanly possible because right wingers.
All right. Oh boy. All right. With that, we'll wrap things up. We need more
We need
seals.
more seals in Teal Town.
Teal Town. You weren't here for a reverse retro time? Come on, Logan.
Maybe on Twitch we'll build a fucking like seals team. I don't know.
Yes,
Stay
that
tuned.
Not tonight.
Not
that-
tonight. No,
that-
no, not tonight.
that might happen in near future. Be looking out for our Twitch channel. I'm hoping.
Mhm.
Hoping, maybe.
I have to sleep decent hours now. Like this is the last hurrah for me. I have to start sleeping decent hours. I have a new job. Decent hours must be
Yay!
slept. Yeah, yay, yay, new job. Boo, working on Eastern time zone decent hours, which is going to be complicated, but we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
So-
figure it out.
All right. That's Jules. That's Ian. I am Puckguy with a better mic. Apparently, I don't know what the fuck happened because I had it set.
I am not a snake handler. No.
Oh God. So so thanks for watching us. The fun will continue on the Discord. So we appreciate each and every one of you. And until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real, teal. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you next time.